Hey folks, this clip is brought to you by the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee, ZenSports. Enter code A to Z TN, ATOZ TN to earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. That is ZenSports. So there has just been rumor flying around on the different message boards from different insider people and then from folks on Twitter speculating. I think the consensus is that the Tennessee fans would like to see Nico play in this game and be the starter. But and a lot of people have been saying this part too. I think it goes further than just being like, oh, I want to see the number one player from the last recruiting class finally play for us. I think it goes further than that, in that you would get him invaluable experience against a good defense. And it would just be kind of a nice setup, a nice preparation for next year to have the offense play with Nico and have the other guys around him, maybe some of these young dudes, get a chance to play with him. And just basically have your first game of next season now, more or less. That's kind of how it can end up being. But what has been flying around about that situation? Do you think we'll see Nico, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Nico will play. I think they know they have to get him in that game, even if it's not a blowout. But with the Joe Milton stuff, I don't think anybody is for sure what's going to happen right now. I know Austin Price went on the radio this week and said that he doesn't think it's crazy talk that Milton could choose to not play in that game. For Milton, I don't think he's going to raise his draft stock or hurt his draft stock by playing in that game. I think it would probably be injury would be the biggest thing that you want to avoid. You're this close to the combine. Milton needs a good combine. He was fine this year, right? He wasn't bad. He didn't throw a ton of interceptions. He threw a few. He didn't put up the crazy numbers that we thought he could and getting that Heisman conversation either. He was okay. And he has these physical abilities. There's a chance, a team's probably going to take a chance on him in the NFL. I don't know if he'll late round draft pick. I don't know how that'll go. It's still kind of early to know what the draft boards will look like. But if he goes to the combine and he runs really well, he throws really well, we've seen in recent years how combine testing can just cause a prospect to soar. So Milton needs that. That would be the biggest reason you'd sit out of this game, is to not put that in jeopardy. Because, I mean, look, you're one snap away from being out for 3 months and not being able to go through any of that testing. And then you've really put yourself in a tough spot. At the same time, I'm sure he wants to play in Orlando. It's where he went to high school. He's from South Florida. Would be a really nice way for him to kind of end his college career right where it basically started, when he was being recruited by Michigan and some other big-time programs. So I can understand how it's a tough conversation for him, or a tough decision. Sounds like he has been going through practice, so it's not like it's a for sure thing he's not going to play, but we don't know for sure that he will play either. As far as Nico, I mean, the best thing for this team in 2024 is for him to play against Iowa and to play the entire game and to take every snap and be the first time that he kind of prepare. I know you say you prepare as a starter every week, and that's true of any good quarterback, but there's definitely a different mindset when it's you. There's a different sense of urgency. It's a different type of preparation. It's the real thing, and that would be huge. He needs to play in that game, and I've heard people say, well, it's a tough defense. Why would you want to throw him out there against that? I'm like, well, that's what you need to do. You need to see what he has. He's essentially, at this point, he's essentially a sophomore. I mean, I know he's going to be a redshirt freshman next season because he didn't play in enough games, but he's essentially a second-year player. He has been with this team for a full calendar year at this point. He went through Orange Bowl practices. He was in Miami with the team. He went through spring practice. He went through fall practice. He hasn't dealt with any injuries that's caused him to miss any time. He's a second-year player at this point. So, he's got to be ready to go. And I think he is. I think Josh Heupel thinks he is. I don't think there's any concern about that. But this is when you've got to kind of get him out there and look, this doesn't count towards 2024.
It's football season, and it's time to switch to ZenSports, the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee, changing the bonus game with their cash rewards program. When you sign up for ZenSports with code A to ZTN, ATOZTN, earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. And if you have friends who bet on sports, share your Zen Sports referral bonus code with them, and you will earn 3% of their betting volume for their first 6 months of betting on Zen Sports with no cap on how much you can earn. So what are you waiting for? Stop wasting time and money on other sports books when you could be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store at zensports.com, and your wallet will thank you later. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older in Tennessee to bet. That is Zen Sports. Go download it now.
Yeah, you want to win this game. You should win this game. Nico should be able to operate the offense at a good enough level to outscore Iowa. It's not going to take a lot of points, I don't think, to beat them. So this is, I mean, it's kind of a perfect situation for him. But at the same time, I understand the loyalty to Joe Milton. I understand Josh Heupel not being like, hey, we don't want you to play in this game. Like, I don't want Heupel to handle things like that. Like, there is a human element to this. It's college football. It's what we all cheer for. But we're on our couches, watching this in the stands, watching it. These are the guys living it day to day that have real relationships with each other, that they're going to have those relationships forever. You hope, like, you want your head coach to have a relationship with your quarterback 30 years down the road, because that's kind of what Tennessee's about. You want to see those guys back, and you don't want to see that bad blood. But you kind of hope that maybe Milton does make a decision for himself where it's like, hey, I'm going to go prepare for the draft. No hard feelings. Let's let Nico kind of do his thing and get a head start on his career.
Yeah, it's tough because I really like Joe Milton. He's a really good dude who stuck around Tennessee and was more loyal than anyone that you see at the moment in college football. I mean, sticking around behind Hendon Hooker for multiple years like that, really putting in his time until he finally got that spot as starter, and really, kind of soaked it in behind Hooker, and just was a really good sport through all of that. Finally got his time to shine. Also, like I say all of that, and I go, I think it would be better for Tennessee's football team for him to not play in this bowl game. And I kind of hate that. But it is what it is. I'm thinking forward. And I think most Tennessee fans are thinking the same, just from what I've seen. Really, really like Joe, and have really appreciated him. And it's, I think people compared Joe to Garantano. Joe was, in my opinion, Joe was better than Jared Garantano. But it was similar. It was similar to Garantano, where when he finally transferred out, he went like, "Yeah, young man, I get it. You got beaten to hell here, and you went through the absolute ringer, and you stuck it out, and you played hard for this university, and that's awesome, and we'll appreciate that, and thank you, and now it's time for somebody else." Like, it's just that two-edged sword of that situation where it feels a little cold to be like that with Joe right now, and to be like, please just let Nico play. Also, I think it's just the best thing for this team to have that happen, just long term, and to just get that show on the road. And maybe it's the kind of, to your point there, maybe it's the best thing for him too, to prepare for the NFL, is to just skip it. But obviously, we'll see. I think he's going to play. I think he'll play in that game.
My gut says that he probably will play. We should know I think we'll know before Christmas. I would maybe Friday, because I think they leave to go to Orlando the day after Christmas, and to practice down there a couple of days before playing, next on New Year's Day. So you would want that decision made by then because you have to game prep. I'm sure there's kind of a deadline on, hey, we got to actually, they're practicing right now, but you got to start your Iowa prep the week before the game. So I would bet in the next couple of days we probably hear something.
Probably. So we'll see. Talk about it next week.